We're now going to do a series of videos on home ownership, and this first video is going to focus on mortgages. Our objective: compute the monthly payment and interest costs for a mortgage. And we're going to focus on fixed rate mortgages because they're much easier to work with, and they're also rather common, probably the most common mortgage out there. First off, what's a mortgage? Well, a mortgage is a long-term installment loan for the purpose of buying a home. And we looked at these installment loans when we looked at cars and purchasing a car. Two additional terms that you'll see associated with mortgages: the down payment, which is the portion of the sale price that the buyer initially pays to the seller, and the amount of the mortgage, or the amount of the loan, which is the sale price minus the down payment. So here is our formula. We've seen this formula before. Again, we saw it with the car loan. It's a fixed installment loan formula, and it has to do with fixed rates. All right, so let's take a look at an example of how this works, not with a car, but with a mortgage, with buying a home. Same idea, or very similar idea, as you might imagine. The price of a home is $195,000. The bank requires a 10% down payment at the time of closing, which is also the time of purchase. The remaining cost of the home will be financed with a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage at 7.5%. Let's note at this time of recording, this is rather high for fixed-rate mortgages in the United States. It certainly is not unreasonable. They have been significantly higher in the past, but it's about twice as high as is currently the case as I'm recording this. So here's the situation. You've decided to buy a house that's on sale for $195,000. The bank says you need to put some skin in the game. You need to put some money in so that we know you're serious, and it's going to go directly to the seller, and they want 10% of that. And then the bank says, the remaining cost, you're going to take out a loan. It's going to be a 30-year loan paid back monthly, and it's going to be an annual interest rate of 7.5%. So first, what's the required down payment? Okay, so the down payment, again, you put some money into the game, you pay directly to the seller, is 10% of the price. Okay, well, the price is $195,000, so it's 10% of $195,000, and 10% of 195 of means to multiply, so 0.1 times 195,000. The down payment is $19,500. In other words, you need to have this amount of money on hand to pay at the time of closing. Okay, out of your account into the seller's account will go almost $20,000. All right, so that's a down payment. What's the amount of the mortgage? How much are you going to borrow? Well, that's a fairly simple operation. Okay, so let's see here. The mortgage amount is equal to the price minus the down payment. The amount you're going to borrow is what's left, okay? You came up with $19,500. Well, you need to borrow the rest of the money from the bank in order to purchase the house. Well, the price of the house, $195,000. The down payment that you're going to pay at the beginning is $19,500. The amount of the mortgage, the amount you're going to borrow, is $175,500. Okay, so this is the amount borrowed from the bank. Okay, in other words, you don't have $175,000, otherwise you just pay for this. You're going to need to borrow that from the bank. Okay, let's continue. So that's we know we have to have a $19,500 down payment. We're going to borrow the remainder, which is $175,500. Okay, now so we borrow that. What is the monthly payment going to be on that borrowed amount? Well, we use our formula from the other side of the page. The amount we're going to borrow, the monthly payment, okay, because we're looking at monthly here. Again, there's that fraction bar. The numerator is the loan amount. Well, it's $175,500. Again, I'm using that formula on the front side of this paper. The rate is, I think we have the rate at 7.5%. As a decimal, that is 0.075. We are paying this, these payments will be monthly or 12 times every year. So there's your numerator. The denominator is 1 minus 1 plus the interest rate, the annual interest rate of 7.5%, the number of times divided by the number of times paid yearly. And don't forget, the exponent in the fixed installment loan formula is negative. The number of times paid each year times the number of years, and this is a 30-year loan. It's going to take a long time to pay this back. So how much are you going to pay every month? Well, you're going to pay, when you do all this math, do that big calculation, $1,227.12. There's your monthly payment. Okay? So you can't afford that $195 at one time, $195,000. So you're going to borrow the money from the bank. You're going to pay it back to them over a 30-year period, and they're going to ask for a payment, a monthly payment of $1,227.12. Okay, letter D here. So, what is the total interest that's paid? Well, it's a long time. There's going to be a lot of interest here. Okay, well, let's first off figure out how much you're going to pay for this house. Okay, so total paid for the home. Well, you pay $1,227.12 every month. You do that for 12 months in a year, and you're going to do that for 30 years. So you're going to make 360, 12 times 30, you're going to make 360 payments of $1,227.12. In this situation, you're going to wind up paying $441,763.20 for that home. And yes, as the longer the loan, the more you're going to pay total, because the interest goes the entire time. You're paying quite a bit in this case. Now, as a reminder, my 7.5% example is currently quite high in today's environment, but in the past, it hasn't been overly high. It's probably been medium high, but there have certainly been higher mortgage loan rates in the past. So now we can calculate the total interest paid. We know that the total paid, okay, how much you're going to pay is, well, you're going to pay back the loan, right? And you're going to pay back interest. So how much are you going to pay to the bank? Well, you're going to pay the bank $441,763.20. The loan amount was for $175,500, and the remainder that you're going to pay back is the fee the bank is charging, called interest. So let's subtract $175,500 from both sides, and the amount of interest, the fee you're going to pay to borrow this money for 30 years, you're going to pay a fee of $266,263.20. And yes, that seems like a lot because it is. To borrow money for that length of time means that over 360 payments, you're paying interest every time, you're going to wind up accumulating quite a bit of interest. But you can't afford the home otherwise, so this is why this is what people will do. Let's just put this together. Now, the cost of the home, if you remember, was $195,000. Okay? The cost of the home was $195,000. How much interest did you pay? Well, you paid $266,263.20 in interest. Now remember, this cost also included the down payment. Okay, that's the cost. That's the amount of interest you pay. So how much total did you pay for the home? We're going to add these two numbers up. And in this case, you're going to wind up paying $461,263.20 in this example. As is common with homes, you wind up paying more interest in general than the cost of the home, because generally you spread those payments out over such a long time. In the next video, we'll take a look at how each of these payments change when it comes to the amount that goes to interest to the bank and the amount that goes to pay off the loan.